China is a great example where in a forceful manner, in a very forceful manner, almost in a brutal manner, when they become affluent, the stick won't work, they will turn around and bite. That time will come for China. So democracy as a political system is one thing. As Churchill said, maybe in democracies, misery is equally distributed. When things have to be done, it gets slowed down inordinately simply because you have to convince everybody involved, and not everybody gets the point. By the time they get the point, the time has passed many times. So this problem is there. But the most beautiful aspect of democracy is, not always is it right, most of the time it gets itself wrong. In spite of that, the best thing about democracy is, this is the first time in the history of humanity that we can change power without bloodshed. That's the most important thing, we should never forget this. Otherwise, even within a family, if power had to change, there was bloodletting. Nations, major nations are changing power without a drop of blood. That is the first time in the last 100 years, in the last 10,000 years. It is only in the last 50, 60 years this is happening across the world. So we should not underestimate the value of that, though there are unnecessary impediments in democracy, which goes on, what can be settled in 10 minutes goes on for 10 years of debate. Yes. Like you're talking about, what to say, economies which are at different stages of development. If you say United States, it's at a certain stage of development. If you say Republic of China, it is at a certain stage of development. If you say India, it's another stage of development. I don't think you can handle all the three with the same norms and rules because they are in different age groups. You can't handle a 5-year-old kid and a 15-year-old youth and a 25-year-old adult the same way. So, they are in different stages. They need to be nurtured and handled in different ways. China is a great example where in a forceful manner, in a very forceful manner, almost in a brutal manner, they have taken out 1 billion people out of poverty in a matter of 40 years. That's not a small thing. People focus on brutality, but the most brutal thing is to keep a whole population a lifetime of poverty is the most brutal thing. Shooting somebody is not so brutal compared to keeping them in poverty for a whole lifetime or generations of people. Generations of people were in extreme poverty, so to move them out forcefully, it was taken out of that. I think now they're making the necessary changes, maybe the world expects faster changes, but they're making the necessary changes of shifting from a communist and forceful way of handling things to a more market-oriented way of handling. I think it's a very wise thing to do. There is no perfect way to do these things. Nobody knows what is the perfect way when 1 billion people are involved in the economy. India is doing it the hard way, but in a more stable way, I would say, because when it happens forcefully, it is easy to use force on people when they're very poor. When people are poor, stick works. When they become affluent, the stick won't work, they will turn around and bite. That time will come for China. Before that, they must change themselves. I think they're moving in that direction. Are they moving rapidly enough or not is only something we have to see how it happens. But India is going the hard way in a democratic way. Democratic way means we are constantly confused about everything. Yes, that's what democracy means. Because for everything 100 people are involved. What can be done by one man can just take a decision, but 100 people are involved. It looks like a confusion, it is a confusion, but it's a more stable way of growing because people are involved in this. Like in China, there may be one leader or maybe 5 people ruling the country. In India, there are 1 billion people ruling the country. In everything, everybody is on. This leads to lot of impediments and confusion. At the same time, it creates a very solid base. It creates such a solid base, it doesn't matter what happens to world's economy, you will see India is always going at its own pace. simply because everybody is involved at some level. So, these are two very drastically different ways of developing an economy. I don't think you can do what China has done in India. Indians are… if there are 3 people, there will be 5 opinions. So, you can't manage us like that, we're little…
Well, it feels
So
like…
people were asking me, Sadhguru, what do you think about India's trajectory? We're like, I was very closely involved with wild bees at one time when I was young. So I said, we're like a swarm of bees. We are buzzing and seem to be going in all kinds of directions, but the whole swarm is heading in one direction. But each one of them is doing their own thing.
Progress, there's a lot of progress. It feels like the pace of change in the world is so fast. There's incredible progress. We're here in the heart of part of the world that prides itself on change and disruption and progress and innovation. What are some of the things that we're not thinking about or we're not talking about with all this progress in terms of some of the implications?
See, we're getting too carried away with economy. Today, anywhere you go, even if you go to your grandmother's place, you discuss economy. Hello? Even your grandmother is talking about economy. Economy, we must understand, is just an organized way of handling our survival. We should not raise it to heavens. That's not how it is. But the entire world has taken to this today. Everybody… there are WhatsApp economists in India who are oh, you don't use that platform much here, whatever. I mean, there are social media economists who are advising on a daily basis what should happen to the world, all this stuff. Leaving that aside, first time when I went to the World Economic Forum, a computer manufacturing company, that was the second largest company at that time. So, people were almost resentful as to why I am there. What is a mystic doing in an economic forum? So this person came up to me and asked something like this. So I said, see, what's your business? He said, we make computers, we're the second largest. Well, 3 months later, the Chinese bought them over. I said, see, whether you're making a computer or a safety pin or a spacecraft, it doesn't matter what you're making. Essentially, you have forgotten this is all about human well-being. All business is about human well-being, and that's my business.